20,000 people once lived inside a cliff. In 100 AD, Petra was the engine of the ancient world, controlling spice and silk routes worth billions. Its engineers carved an entire water system into stone to survive the desert. Then Rome arrived. 2 earthquakes finished what Rome started. By 749 AD, the city was silent. No ruins explain it like this. AI has reconstructed every carved facade, every market corridor, exactly as it stood at its peak. In the next few minutes, 7 chapters rebuild an entire civilization. Petra did not grow powerful by accident. It grew powerful because of where it stood. Positioned at the crossroads of ancient trade routes connecting Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean, Petra became the beating heart of commerce in the ancient world. Every valuable commodity moving between east and west passed through this city. And the Nabataeans, Petra's founders and masters, controlled every step of that journey. Watch this reconstruction carefully. The sun rises over the canyon walls. And almost immediately, the city stirs. Camel caravans begin arriving through the long, narrow canyon that served as Petra's dramatic main entrance. These animals carry enormous loads. Frankincense harvested from southern Arabia. Myrrh wrapped in linen cloth. Cinnamon and pepper from distant eastern lands. Bolts of silk so fine they catch the morning light like water. The caravan drivers are tired. They have traveled for weeks across brutal desert terrain. But they know that Petra means safety. It means water. It means profit. The markets open before the heat of the day becomes unbearable. Nabataean merchants spread their goods across stone platforms in the open-air trading quarters. Voices rise in negotiation. Hands gesture over clay tablets recording weights and prices. Translators move between groups speaking Arabic, Greek, and Aramaic, because Petra's marketplace welcomed traders from every corner of the known world. The Nabataeans were brilliant businessmen. They did not simply allow trade to pass through their city. They taxed it. They organized it. They protected it. Every caravan that entered Petra paid a toll. Every merchant who sold goods within its walls contributed to the city's extraordinary wealth. Look at the reconstruction of the colonnaded street. Shops line both sides. Fabric merchants display dyed textiles in deep reds and saffron yellows. Metalworkers hammer copper and bronze into vessels and jewelry. Pottery stalls overflow with elegantly painted Nabataean ware, some of the thinnest, finest pottery produced anywhere in the ancient world. This was not a simple desert outpost. This was a sophisticated, cosmopolitan trading city, alive, loud, and extraordinarily prosperous. Trade made Petra wealthy. But water made Petra possible. Look around this reconstruction. You are standing in the middle of a desert. The sun is relentless. The ground is dry cracked stone. Rainfall is rare and unpredictable. By every measure of nature, this canyon should be uninhabitable. And yet, over 20,000 people lived here. Comfortably. Permanently. How? Because the Nabataeans solved the desert. They did not simply hope for rain. They engineered systems to capture every single drop of it. And this reconstruction reveals that invisible genius for the first time. Look at the canyon walls above the city. Carved directly into the rock face, you can see narrow channels, precise, carefully angled gutters that followed the natural slope of the cliffs. When rain fell, even the lightest shower, these channels caught the water and directed it downward. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was allowed to simply evaporate into the sand. The water moved through a network of ceramic pipes buried beneath Petra's streets. These pipes connected to a series of cisterns, large underground storage chambers cut deep into the bedrock. Archaeologists have identified over 200 cisterns across the Petra Basin. Some held thousands of gallons of water. They kept the city supplied through the long dry months when no rain fell at all. But the system did not stop there. The Nabataeans also built dams across the wadis, the seasonal riverbeds that cut through the surrounding landscape. These dams slowed and captured the flash floods that roared through the canyons after heavy rains. Without these dams, those floods would have been deadly. With them, they became a vital source of stored water. Watch the reconstruction of daily life near the water channels. Women carry ceramic jars to collection points fed by the pipe network. Workers inspect the channel walls for cracks after the rainy season. Engineers direct teams cutting new cisterns deeper into the rock. This was not primitive survival. This was advanced urban planning. Executed in stone. In the middle of a desert. Nearly 2,000 years ago. The Nabataeans did not conquer the desert by ignoring it. They conquered it by understanding it completely. Petra was not only a city of commerce and engineering. It was a city of deep faith. And this reconstruction reveals the spiritual world that shaped every corner of Nabataean life, from the grandest temple courtyard to the smallest carved altar hidden in the canyon walls. Look at the reconstruction of Qasr al-Bint. This is Petra's most important freestanding temple. It rises nearly 23 meters from its stone platform. Its walls are thick and powerful. Its entrance faces north, deliberately aligned to receive the first light of the morning sun. Inside, priests moved through incense-filled chambers conducting rituals for Dushara, the supreme god of the Nabataean people. Dushara was not worshipped through painted images or carved statues. He was represented by a simple block of dark stone. Uncarved. Undecorated. Pure and absolute. This simplicity reflected the Nabataean belief that the divine existed beyond human representation. But Dushara was not alone. Aluzza, goddess of water, protection, and fertility, was equally revered in Petra. And water, as we have already seen, was the lifeblood of this desert city. Shrines dedicated to Aluzza appeared throughout the canyon. Small carved niches in the rock face. Offerings of incense and grain left at the base of cliff altars. Now look above the city. The high place of sacrifice stands on the ridge overlooking Petra's entire basin. Worshippers climbed stone-cut steps to reach this open-air altar platform. From here, the entire city spread below them. Priests performed ceremonial rituals at the carved altar basin while the canyon winds moved through the crowd gathered in solemn reverence. And then there are the tombs. The Nabataeans believed deeply in honoring their dead. Rock-cut tombs were carved with extraordinary care across every cliff face surrounding the city. The royal tombs, massive facades with columns, pediments, and ornamental details, announced the status of those buried within. Funeral processions moved slowly through Petra's streets. Family members dressed in mourning garments. Priests recited prayers in Aramaic. The body was carried toward the cliff face as the carved doorway of the tomb was prepared to receive it. In Petra, the living and the dead shared the same stone city. Faith was not separate from daily life. It was carved into every wall around them. For centuries, Petra stood unconquered. No army had broken through the sick. No empire had bent the Nabataeans to its will. They had survived through diplomacy, through wealth, and through the sheer strategic value of their trade networks. But in 106 AD, everything changed. The Roman Emperor Trajan sent his forces into Nabataean territory. Not through a dramatic battlefield victory. Not through a bloody siege of Petra's canyon walls. The annexation came quietly, through political pressure, through the death of the last Nabataean king Rabel II, and through the systematic dismantling of an independent kingdom. Watch this reconstruction carefully. Roman soldiers enter Petra's streets. They do not come as destroyers. They come as administrators. And that, in many ways, made the transformation slower, deeper, and far more permanent. The Roman engineers arrive first. They walk Petra's colonnaded street with measuring tools and clay tablets. They assess the existing structures. They note what meets Roman urban standards and what does not. Within years, new construction begins alongside the old Nabataean buildings. A Roman-style temple rises near the city center. A colonnaded boulevard is widened and repaved with flat stone slabs. Public bathhouses appear, a Roman institution entirely foreign to Nabataean culture. The city's layout begins shifting from an organic, canyon-following design to the rigid, grid-like structure preferred by Roman urban planners. Look at the marketplace reconstruction. The trading language begins to shift. Greek, the administrative language of the Roman East, appears on more and more merchant tablets. Aramaic, the language of the Nabataeans, slowly retreats from public life into private homes and religious ceremonies. The Nabataean currency disappears. Roman coins replace the distinctive Nabataean silver drams that had circulated through the trading world for generations. Each small coin that changes hands represents another thread of Nabataean identity quietly dissolving. The trade routes shift as well. Rome redirects commerce through new roads it controls directly. Petra's role as the indispensable crossroads of Eastern trade begins to weaken. Other cities, better positioned within the new Roman network, begin attracting the caravans that once made Petra extraordinary. The city does not fall. But it begins, slowly, invisibly, to forget what it once was. Rome did not destroy Petra. Time did. And time chose its weapons carefully, sending not armies, but the earth itself to finish what centuries of gradual decline had quietly begun. This final reconstruction sweeps across the entire city at the height of its power, 100 AD, the peak of Nabataean civilization. Every detail restored. Every surface alive. Every street filled with the sound and movement of a city that refused to accept the limitations of the desert that surrounded it. Watch the sick at dawn. The narrow canyon walls glow amber and rose as the first light of morning filters down between the cliffs. A caravan is already moving through, camels loaded with frankincense and silk, their footsteps echoing against stone corridors that amplify every sound into something almost ceremonial. The caravan drivers speak quietly among themselves, knowing that within minutes the canyon will open and Petra will appear before them. It always takes their breath away. The city spreads across the basin in every direction. The colonnaded street runs straight and purposeful through the center, lined with merchants already arranging their morning displays. The smell of spiced bread rises from cooking fires near the residential quarters. Children carry water jars through narrow side passages, following routes their grandparents taught them, paths worn smooth by generations of daily use. Look at Qasr al-Bint in the morning light. Priests move through its entrance carrying incense burners. The smoke rises slowly in the still desert air. On the ridge above, the high place of sacrifice catches the full force of the rising sun, its altar stones glowing as though lit from within. The water flows through every channel. Channeled from distant rains, stored in deep cisterns, distributed through ceramic pipes beneath every street, the Nabataean water system hums invisibly beneath the city's daily life, sustaining everything above it. The royal tomb facades catch the dusk light. Their carved columns and ornamental pediments turn deep gold as the sun descends behind the western cliffs. The city begins to quiet. Merchants pack their remaining goods. Families gather in carved courtyards for the evening meal. Petra breathes. It is magnificent. It is sophisticated. It is completely, entirely alive. This is what was lost. This is what this reconstruction restores, not just the stones and the streets, but the full weight of a civilization that carved its existence directly into the face of the earth and dared the desert to forget it. The desert remembered. And now, so will you.